Welcome to Channel 24. I'm Natalia Lutsenko and this is our news. US President Donald Trump has sharply criticized Russia again after another deadly strike on Kyiv. The attack killed 28 people, including 3 children, and injured dozens more. Trump called Russia's actions disgusting and promised new sanctions against Moscow. But he also said he's not sure if sanctions even matter to the Russian president.
Yeah, we have about 8. Yeah, we're going to put sanctions. I don't know that sanctions bother him. You know, they know about sanctions. I know better than anybody about sanctions and tariffs and everything else. I don't know if that has any effect, but we're going to do it. Europe is extremely upset. But this is a war that should have never happened. This is a war that wouldn't have happened if I were president.
Trump also reminded us how many people are dying every day because of Russia's war. He said Russian losses on the front are much higher than Ukraine's. Well, if I were the US president, I wouldn't worry about the lives of Russian killers. Russia is losing its own attackers. Ukraine, sadly, is losing its bravest, often very young patriots. And did you know how to stop it? It's very simple. It doesn't depend so much on the American president, truly. It depends on dictator Putin. The moment his army leaves Ukrainian land, the war will end. A day of mourning has been declared in Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities after a Russian missile strike hit a 9-story residential building. Rescue teams spent the entire day searching through the rubble. At least 28 people were killed, including 3 children. Many others were injured during the overnight attacks across the capital. Ukraine has called for an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council in response to Russia's massive overnight attack. The meeting is scheduled for August 1st, according to Ukraine's Deputy Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha. In the US Senate, lawmakers have introduced a new bipartisan bill proposing multi-billion-dollar aid for Ukraine. Senator Jean Shaheen and Lisa Murkowski submitted the Supporting Ukraine Act of 2025, which outlines major financial assistance. Ukraine's ambassador to the US, Oksana Markarova, said that the bill would allow American security aid to be delivered through contributions to Ukraine's Recovery Investment Fund, created under a bilateral agreement between the two governments. At the same time, the US Senate has backed a bill for 2026 that includes $1 billion on military aid for Ukraine. Ukrainians have achieved an important victory. The government has restored the independence of the country's key anti-corruption bodies, the National Anti-Corruption Bureau and the Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office. President Volodymyr Zelensky signed the new law on July 31st, calling it the right decision and saying the state is listening to public opinion. He added that Ukrainian officials would immediately inform international partners about the change. Just 10 days earlier, Zelensky had signed a different law that removed the independence of these agencies, putting them under the control of the prosecutor general. But in the end, democracy and the voice of the people won.
In 2013, I stood at Maidan. In this park, we were beaten by pro-government thugs. When they said today that young people were gathering here, how could I not come here again to defend them? I don't have as much time left to live as you do, and I want you to never know what the Russian world is like, where someone tells you what to do.
PACE has welcomed Ukraine's decision to restore the independence of its anti-corruption bodies. They said the swift passage of the legislation shows that the president's office and the Ukrainian parliament listened to the voice of the Ukrainian people. A German lawmaker says it's time for Germany to reconsider its ban on landmines, arguing that the threat from Russia is too great to ignore. Roderick Kyiv, a member of Bundestag from the ruling Christian Democratic Union, said that Germany should temporarily leave the Ottawa Convention, the treaty banning the use of anti-personnel mines until Russia recognizes the right of its neighboring countries to exist. Kyiv pointed to other countries that have left the treaty, arguing that felt endangered by Russia's aggressive actions. He also noted that while Germany does not share a border with Russia or Belarus, its tank brigade permanently stationed in Lithuania could be at risk. Russia has widely used anti-personnel mines in its war against Ukraine.
I support a temporary withdrawal from the Ottawa Convention. Temporary until Russia recognizes the right of its neighboring states to exist.
This was all for now. For more content, please subscribe.